Don in London, hello. It's January 15th, 2010, halfway through the month. My videos about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, my behaviour, workaholic, relationshipaholic, you name it. Trying to be perfect. And why? Well, probably driven by 1,000 forms of fear along the way. Trying to fit in, trying to be included, trying to look right, putting on a brave face. All those things that we do when we want to fit in. And what helped me? Well, a great enabler for me was alcohol, and it took the edge off. That first drink took the edge off, made me feel convivial, made me feel okay with being me, even though I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know how to fit in. So it gave me a brave face, and they call it a bracer sometimes, when you take a drink in the morning, or if you've got a hangover, something to cure it. But at the end of the day, what happened to me? Simply this. I went from conviviality to dependence to addiction. And it was a very slow, long process. But I don't know where the lines were crossed. And I suspect the line actually was crossed with the first drink. The first drink did the damage. And after that, well, all bets were off in terms of me trying to find out who I was in a really authentic way, to find my uniqueness and authenticity. And what did drink do for me? Well, it made me feel like I knew better, made me feel able to be confident in my opinion, made me feel confident to be whatever I thought you ought, what I thought you ought to see, and what I thought you wanted. So these days I don't do that on a daily basis, at least I hope not. I'm looking for an open, honest, willing way to live, and that means openly and honestly understanding where I am now. And it doesn't matter whether I know who I am or what I am, it's what I'm doing, it's the action of living and experiencing and gaining wisdom and finding some happiness and some sadness as life affords. It's living life, and it's all about action, definitely. So for me these days, I'm in recovery, one day at a time, a 24-hour program of action to change my attitude and behaviour. So if I can keep the action, attitude and behaviour to the good of living, I have a chance to be a part of life, an opportunity to be included. So, included in what? Well, family, community, society, and part of a fellowship which helps me keep sober on a daily basis, and that fellowship which keeps me sober on a daily basis, or helps me understand how to make the choice to be sober, is Alcoholics Anonymous. So it's full of unique, authentic people with the similarity that we don't drink on a daily basis, once we've got the message, and that life is better without drink. Simple as that, really. But it's complicated, because people are complicated. We make simple things difficult, because we keep on thinking and thinking and thinking. So when I wake up in the morning, if I'm happy, it's better not try and find the source of the happiness with great gusto, trying to analyse it to death, because the more I try and pick it apart, the actual feeling, the more I lose it, because I'm looking for the answer. And sometimes there are no answers in feelings. So, except maybe that we get exhilaration or the opposite when we're actually experiencing something. So fellowship is a 24-hour program to find out about life and to live it and to experience it. And what does AA give me? Well, there's a statement of intent at the beginning of every meeting that I go to, and it's called the AA Preamble, and it goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And in there it says, for me, which is so important, only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. It's not actually saying you must stop, it's just making it clear. If you have a desire to stop, well, join us. And nothing else, that's it. No other entry requirements, even if you don't stop drinking. And it says at the end, our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Because sobriety offers the opportunity to make life choices, to take the action, to change our attitude and behaviour on a daily basis, to the good of life and the people around us. So it doesn't make us special and different. But I know for a long time I thought I was special and different, and if I ruled the world it would all be alright. Well, it might have been alright for me, but the trouble with power is, once we've got it, it comes with responsibility. And even if I were in charge, how would it turn out? Well, it wouldn't turn out all right for me. I'd have to play control games and manipulate and contrive and believe I was right. So these days I don't have to believe I'm right, contrive, manipulate or control. I just need to make choices which are good choices to living and finding happiness, or the opposite, as life offers. You know, if we get 50-50, 50 to the good, 50 to the less good, we're doing all right. And if we can cope with what's going on, we're all right. So I went to a meeting last night. It was a good meeting and a great share from somebody I respect and admire as a person who gives a lot of service to the fellowship and doesn't talk about it and just gets on. And sometimes it's difficult for them. I have a similar condition or conditions outside of the ism of alcoholism, which make life difficult. But without the fellowship, well, where would I be? I wouldn't be in the day, and I wouldn't be able to deal with it. So the gift is for me, if I'm in recovery, the rest of life can work, no matter what the difficulties or the supplementary things we have to deal with as we get a bit on in life, and other things happen to us, or even if it happens young. So I also share daily reflections here, this book. The 12 steps in 12 months, 1 step a month, and January is all about step 1, powerless over alcohol and life unmanageable, and what we're trying to achieve by just giving up the drink, and then moving on into action. And it says here, January the 15th, an unexpected inner resource. With few exceptions, our members find that they have tapped an unsuspected inner resource, which they presently identify with their own conception of a power greater than themselves. And that could be for anything that you understand to be a power greater than you. And for me it's fellowship, God, you name it, the universe. Things I cannot define often, but help me with wisdom. From my first days in AA, I struggled for sobriety. I found hope in these words from our founders. I often pondered the phrase, they have tapped an unsuspected inner resource. How, I ask myself, can I find the power within myself, since I am so powerless? In time, as the founders promised, it came to me. I've always had the choice between goodness and evil, between unselfishness and selfishness, between serenity and fear. That power greater than myself is an original gift that I did not recognize until I achieved daily sobriety through living AA's 12 steps. And the gift in there, for me, we don't get it all at once. We can think we've got it. We think about what recovery is, and then we live it. And as we start to live recovery, it's blinking difficult. It's very difficult because life is difficult. If it were easy, what would be the point? I don't know. I don't know, because it's not. It's difficult. So living in action, 12 steps of changing my attitude and behaviour to live these principles in all my living experiences. It works because that inner resource is always available to me, to the good of living rather than the bad of living. So at the end of these videos I always share the Serenity Prayer, which is either to God or your good conscience or whatever it is that you understand as your inner resource and connection to a power greater than yourself. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, for me, is just for today.